Imagine handing a patient a complete map of their internal biological universe.
Mm.
And like the lab test to actually generate it costs less than a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly where bacterial sequencing is heading right now. It's just a staggering drop in price.
It's wild. Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Today, our mission is really targeted specifically for you, the physician owners of SMB clinics.
Right, because we are synthesizing this huge stack of clinical reports and market projections.
Basically to figure out how you can actually integrate and, more importantly, monetize this booming field of microbiome science.
Without, completely drowning in denied insurance claims.
Exactly. It's like going from a blurry Polaroid to a 4K 3D movie of the gut, honestly.
That is a great analogy because right now the science has just completely outpaced the billing manuals.
Oh, totally.
I mean, we are moving away from just culturing like a few isolated bacteria in a petri dish. Next generation sequencing, or NGS, is pushing precision medicine forward at just lightning speed.
And we should probably clarify how NGS is actually doing that, because it's not just taking a picture.
No, not at all.
The technology is, it's literally reading the genetic barcode of every single microbe in a sample simultaneously.
Right.
So you get this massive, holistic data set showing exactly who is living in the microbiome and what biological functions they can perform.
Exactly. And because bacterial genomes are so incredibly tiny compared to, say, human DNA, the sheer computing power required to read them is plummeting.
Plunging.
That's why we might honestly soon see full sequences for just a single dollar.
Which is just crazy to think about.
It is. Consequently, the human microbiome market is exploding. We're looking at projections hitting $899 million or even up to $2.2 billion by 2025.
Wow.
Yeah. And what's fascinating here is how fast this data is actually moving from the lab to actual therapeutics.
Right, like fecal microbiota transplantation, or FMT.
Yes. We aren't just observing the gut flora anymore. We are physically transplanting a healthy, dense microbial ecosystem into a sick patient.
So mechanically, those healthy microbes just take over the real estate in the gut.
Precisely.
Like literally outcompeting and starving out deadly pathogens like recurrent C. diff.
It's a brilliant mechanism. You're essentially deploying good bacteria as a living drug. But from a clinic owner's perspective, this is where the friction hits.
Yeah, the regulatory minefield.
Exactly. Turning that living drug into cleared revenue is really tough. You can't just sequence a gut and expect a check.
Wait, so the science says the entire microbiome matters, but Medicare says only test what you're actively treating right now.
That is the exact disconnect. Medicare broadly views these massive, non-targeted fecal microbiome panels as, quote, not medically necessary.
Oh, of course.
Right. So if you're offering treatments like FMT, your billing strategy has to be absolutely ironclad.
Because you can't just send over a generic procedure code.
No, absolutely not. The strict coding is vital. For example, the reports show rebiota requires billing J14SORN40 alongside 0780T,
Right.
while Medicare uses G0455 for standard FMT preparation and installation.
And I imagine the administrative hurdles are pretty steep there, too.
Oh, prior authorizations are your absolute bottleneck here.
You basically have to write a novel proving the patient failed conventional antibiotics first, right?
Yeah, if you skip that narrative, the claim is dead on arrival.
So here is the strategic pivot for your clinic. Since broad genomic screening is so tough to get reimbursed, how else can clinics monetize gut and metabolic health?
Well, this is where you shift focus. Enter medical nutrition therapy, or MNT.
Which makes total sense.
Right.
Instead of fighting insurance to map the bacteria, you optimize the bacteria through what the patient eats.
Right.
It's like tending a garden to improve the soil rather than trying to, genetically engineer the dirt itself.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, MNT provides steady, compliant revenue while still optimizing those patient microbiomes.
And SMB clinics can just use registered dietitians to build that recurring revenue, right?
Exactly. And the coding is much clearer. For 2026, you'd use CPT 97802 for initial 15-minute assessments.
Which is reimbursed at about $36.74, I think.
Yep. And then 197803 for follow-ups, which is around $31.73.
And doesn't Medicare Part B cover this at 100% for specific conditions?
Yes, for things like diabetes. So those 15-minute billing blocks really add up, providing incredibly reliable cash flow.
So for SMB clinics, the secret is really just balancing the cutting-edge potential of things like NGS and FMT with the strict coding realities and steady income of MNT.
That's the survival strategy right there.
So for you listening, how will you structure your clinic's billing to safely embrace this precision medicine era?
It definitely takes some strategic planning.
It does, and it leaves us with this rather provocative thought. If bacterial sequencing really does drop to just $1 soon, will the administrative cost of coding and billing for the test soon cost 100 times more than the science itself?
That and a wildly frustrating inefficiency to think about.
Definitely something to mull over. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.